Hi, I'm Mitch St.Pierre from St.Pierre Hoof Care. We've put together a small video here for bovine hoof trimmers, farriers, veterinarians, and dairymen so they can take care of sharpening their own knives. We'll start by doing a demonstration on how to remove the belt and put it back on. Start by putting it on top wheel, underneath the big drive wheel. Put your thumb over here. Now put your other thumb in here on this machine. Use your fingers to pull this wheel forward. Then let go because it's spring-loaded. Give it a few spins. A little back pressure on the wheel so it's nice and snug. And then go ahead and turn it on. You start by taking your knife and running it horizontally and perpendicular to the blade, to the belt. Get some of the manure and dirt off if your knife is dirty. Now you turn it in about approximately 17 degrees, which is something you just have to figure out over time, which is the best way for you. Back and forth, watching your belt, make sure that it's just barely touching the edge. Don't need a lot of pressure because you'll burn your metal and remove excess material for no reason. Now when you're ready to do the hook, turn your knife sideways, keep it horizontal at first, pull it into the hook, and then slowly turn it up. Back and forth a few times. Don't leave it there very long because you'll burn the metal. When you're done, take the buffing wheel, buff the edge down away from the sharp edge. Never buff with your blade up. Always have the blade down. Put a fair amount of pressure on it and it won't hurt. Same thing with the hook. Hold your knife as steady as possible. You cover all the areas. And now you should have a nice sharp knife. You can feel the fingernail when you do it right. Another way of doing it, now this is a right-handed knife. So obviously you're coming from this other side. You can also do it away from the edge. If you are worried about being safe, it's safer to do it upside down so that your belt is never in danger of hooking into your knife edge and ripping. You can do the hook the same way. Come in from the top. Do it lightly. Check it and see how you're doing. Buff it out. Always remember to buff it with the edge down so that you don't hook your buffing wheel into the sharp edge. It'll likely grab your knife and pull it away from you. Thing that happens with knives is the bevel gets too high so that when you're trimming it's hard to pull the knife through the claw because it bumps up. So that's when you take your belt and sand this part instead of the edge. It's a matter of being really careful. Sometimes you might want to use a brand new belt so that it's more aggressive and does a faster job of removing. In that case, you would never turn your knife all the way up to the edge. Only enough so that you were taking away the bevel. And it's a good idea to have maybe a glass of water nearby so that you can cool your blade down and then make another pass. You don't want to overheat your metal because that ruins it. These belt sanders come with a 1x30 belt, or that's what they use anyway, but we found that it's easier to take a belt, cut it in half, and it makes it way easier to sharpen your knife if you use a 1/2-inch belt. So you take the belt and you find where the seam is, where they've glued it. Take a sharp knife, put it down on a piece of wood, then take your sharp knife and cut it in half. Just draw it across that seam. Then you could take and split the rest of the sanding belt right in half. Comes right apart. There. This kind of sanding belt is somewhat special. It's a yellow material. It's not easy to find. It's 400 grit, and it's very soft and very flexible. One of the things that you want to do when you start with a new belt is put it on your machine, like so. There we go. Then take your fingers, take the belt, and keep twirling it so that it takes a round shape. Softens it up. And this way, when you sharpen your hook, it'll more easily conform to the shape of your hook on your knife. Especially the seam where it's glued together. Give that one a few extra twists and pulls. Soften that up as much as you can. It doesn't hurt to run these in water or spray them with water if you want to. It isn't going to hurt anything. There. Don't fall apart. There. Now you're in business. Like I said, you can do the hooks upside down. Turn them on the buffing wheel. Once in a while you take some of this emery cake that we ship with our sanders. Apply it against the wheel for a few seconds. Don't need to do it very often. One of the things about this machine is that they are rather cheaply made, but if you take good care of them, they should last you quite a few years. You definitely don't want to drop them. It doesn't take much to damage the motor or any of this. That's the way they're made. We've had them for years and they last a long time. These belts are probably could be found online if you do a search, and if you don't find them, we have them at our website at hooftrimmers.net. Just go there and check it out. We have an online store where you can buy this stuff. You can even buy our new knives that we're now making. You'll find a description of those there also. So we hope this video is useful for you. If you have any questions, just contact me through my website, and we'll see what we can do. One of the things you're going to find when you cut the belts, occasionally it may happen that when you cut the belt, it doesn't stay on here very well for whatever reason. I haven't figured that one out yet. So you just have to try another one. Eventually you'll get a good one. But it doesn't happen very often, but it has happened before. So you just maybe cut one that's a ½ inch or maybe a little larger than ½ inch, and it'll track a little better. The one feature about this belt material is that the more you use it, the more it seems to work, do a good job for sharpening, because you don't need to remove a lot of material as a rule. And even when this has been used for a long time, it still has a honing effect on your blades. So unless you're trying to knock the bevel down, these will last a long time. And you can always put a new belt on here, remove your bevel when it starts to get thick, and then put this belt back on just for the sharpening part. And then this way it lasts much longer.